Good morning. If you are in the West Coast, like me, those are in the East Coast, it should be 1 o'clock. Let me stop that music. 1 o'clock in New York, 6 p.m. in Accra, Ghana, where I'm from Ebenezer, and 8 p.m. in Zambia, wherever you are. Welcome to Zambia Blog Talk Radio. Do me a favor, I beg of you, share, but because what we are going to be talking about today, it's a huge milestone for Africa, and there was a lot of celebrations which were done yesterday. This is big. We haven't taken it as such. So we'll try as radio people as much as we can to make it big in the days to come. So please share with others who would be interested to join. We have a very good lineup. I'll be crossing over to Ghana, Accra, where we'll find Ebenezer. Ebenezer is a Christian. It's a Christian name, I think. And then after that, Musawa will join me in an analysis of the barriers which inhibit business in Africa. Dr. Kajira will then follow up. You know, it's a new year, new resolutions. You are getting old, so you need to get exercising. So let's share. Do me a favor, share on your page, and then we want to make things exciting. My name is Roger here in Okotoks, Alberta, Canada. Okotoks is I hear it is a native name, which means a big rock. Sisi Areka, one time she visited Okotoks, I took her there. So that is where we derive the name of a city. So stay with me. It's going to be an interesting hour. Post your questions, your comments, and then we'll see what happens. Right now, let me cross over to, my, what should I say? My contact in Accra, I don't know if he's having problems, but let's see. Let's see. We are now live. Ebenezer, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm good. Are you having issues with knowledge?
It's on and off, but it's perfect now.
Okay, we'll do what we can do. This is what I
Sure.
was telling you. I said, Africa, if there is one thing as we work towards good business transactions, we need the internet, we need to fix it, whether we like it or not. So welcome, Ebenezer, to our discussion. Like I said to our viewers, I'll start with Ebenezer. Ebenezer is a business journalist with one of the biggest media organizations in Ghana. So he reports for Joy FM. That's what you told me. Joy FM. It's a conglomerate, actually, if I'm right, of other media organizations. How is Accra today, Ebenezer? Welcome to Zambia Blog Talk Radio. Okay, so it seems either my contact has frozen. Yeah. So this is one thing we really have to work on improving in Africa. It is our internet. Okay, let me wait for him to come. And I hope Msaba will be joining me soon. That way, if we continue having problems with Ghana, we can proceed with other programs. Yeah. So anyway, it was a big celebration, Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The amazing part or the confusing part for a Zambian like me is that our country is missing. They have not ratified the agreement. So we are going to do whatever we can do here in diaspora. Let's do whatever we can do to force our government to do something about it. Let them ratify. Someone was joking yesterday whether maybe it is money they don't have, because to join some of these memberships, you need to put up some money. So we don't know if that is a problem, but we cannot afford as a country to miss out on this great African achievement. So we need to push our government as much as we can so they can ratify. Imagine the time they spent on Bill 10. If that time was spent figuring out the trade, because this will reduce unemployment for the youth, This will increase their business activity in the continent and in our country. So let's do whatever we can do. I'm also very sure that this might also solve our politics at one point. Yeah, because Africa to Africa, inter-Africa to Africa trade is only about 15%. So the projections by the World Bank is that it might double by the year 2035. A doubling of business activity might mean or will mean people have more money. Our dependence on government, on some political party to give you money might just go down. And when that happens, we have a better chance of pushing our government to do the right thing. Okay, Musaba, if you are listening, please come in. We can continue our discussion. Like I said, we have a big issue with Ghana here. Internet is a big problem.
This time, I don't know why. Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you hear me,
I can
Roger?
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
It has been stable. I
Just
don't know what happened. Just at the time we
just
about
pop up
starting,
a
then
little
it
bit.
started messing.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Let's start before the internet goes away. Talk to me,
Yes.
Ebenezer, about the how Ghana is preparing or prepare themselves for the AfTA implementation. How did it go? Because it's been quiet, especially in my country. But I saw in South Africa it was a big thing. In Kenya it was huge. How was it done in your country, in Ghana?
Okay, so over here, when Ghana started, doing the lobbying process for us to host the secretariat for the AfTA, that is when our president, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, delegated some ministers of the state to, go around the African continent to speak to some prominent AU commissioners and, officers, so that we can see how best Ghana can educate or, intensify the AfTA to education on AfTA to 8 people. So there has been a lot of, workshops. There has been a lot of trainings, which some
Mhm.
of us also benefited from. For instance, I traveled to South Africa for some time to just do some little training on the trading of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which I think has been very, very beneficial to me and some other people as well. Not only us in the media, but the trading community. In Ghana here, we have the Association of Ghana Industries, we have the Ghana Union of Traders Association, and a whole lot of, trading organizations that have been brought together so that they could learn how this after thing will go. So there has been a lot of education and, more of workshop on how after is. So I can say that Ghana is prepared, and like I was telling you off the record, we are going to be launching. The president will be launching the official trading from Tuesday going. Already, the AU has launched. In fact, it's supposed to begin, but it is expected that official trading will begin from tomorrow. So Ghana will be commemorating its, just a short ceremony to give us the start of the agreement. So I can say so far so good. There has been a lot of engagement with stakeholders and all that. And like the president did promise during the launch, there is going to be more. And I believe that some of us are going to be involved with some of these things because most of our SMEs are still not too conversant with what AfTA means. And there are a lot of people
Right.
out there who still don't know what AfTA is about. And there's a need for us to do more. So yes, we have been prepared long before this day. If not for COVID, like by now, AfTA would have been in place, but COVID disrupted its implementation. And like the AU advice, we're doing everything block by block. So, for instance, Ghana as a country cannot do it individually. We have to join the ECOWAS region, which is the Economic Community of West Africa. to do most of our things. So, for instance, even the tariff adjustment, the tariff offer, and all that, we have to join the ECOWAS, like how other ECOWAS countries were doing before we submit. So we have to, draw back a bit because of COVID. And let me say that that has slowed down the implementation of the program. But we thank God now we are over it, and then everything is going smoothly. We are ready. The secretariat is ready. The citizens are ready. The trading community, the Ghanaian business community is ready for AfCFTA. And I can tell you, we are ever ready to trade under the free trade agreement. Roger.
Yesterday when I talked to you, Ebenezer, you talked about some of the advantages this agreement brings to the table. Very, very briefly, because our time, I had we've got slots, so our time is gone because of internet. Very, very brief. What advantages does this agreement bring on the table?
So some of the advantages are this. If, for instance, we in Ghana share a boundary with Togo and La Côte d'Ivoire, anytime our traders are going to these countries with their goods and services to sell, the kind of barriers that they go through and the kind of tariffs that they pay, all these tariffs are going to go free.
Mhm.
Don't also forget, this is a 90%.
Like how much?
I mean,
Do you know how much tariffs they
list.
pay?
Roger, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. So if you are taking your goods, your products to an African country that has signed and ratified the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, you are not going to pay any tariff on it. There's not going to be any quota whereby they'll say you should bring only few of your goods. No. So far as that product is in the list of the tariff offer for the ECOWAS community or for Africa, we are going to be able to trade with it among ourselves within the 53 African countries. For now, it's 53 African countries because, as you know, Eritrea has not signed yet. So it's 53. So we can trade our goods. Same way, someone from Mali or La Côte d'Ivoire can come to Ghana with their goods and services without any tariff, without any quota. And that is how these are some of the advantages that we can get. I, as a journalist, can also go into other countries and do business, and there's not going to be any hindrance on it. There's not going to be any restriction on it because I'm an African and I'm coming from an African country.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very interesting. You gave at one point, you gave me an example of the product which is exported to Ghana or to Nigeria.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Yes, so in Ghana here, we have this product called Casaprecon. Casaprecon is actually a group of companies that produce alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. And their market in Africa here is Nigeria. Nigeria has the biggest, GDP in Africa. So everybody wants to trade in Nigeria. So some time ago, Nigeria closed its borders to us, eastern borders, which affected us here in Ghana. And it affected Casaprecon hugely. I can tell you that they made loss in billions of cedis because they were not able to take their goods to Nigeria. Their goods were not able to enter Nigeria by road. They have to use air, and that is expensive. So some of these things are going to be out of the way. Not only Casaprecon, but we also have our textiles. We have the Akosombo Textile Limited that produces, fabrics. All these fabrics can enter into Nigeria and La Côte d'Ivoire and other countries. We have all our non-traditional exports like our mangoes, our cocoa. And for instance, let me make an example of cocoa. Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire have an agreement such that we can trade our cocoa. And I can tell you that with the coming in of AfCFTA, this is going to be broadened. So any other country in Africa can get our cocoa and use it for whatever they want. They will only pay for the price of the product. They are not going to pay for any tax. They are not going to pay for any tariff because our customs union has been, is going to enforce the law on the trading. So it's not only Ghana, but any other country. There's not going to be any tariff or any taxes on goods that is coming from an African country into the next African country. It's going to be a free trade market for us. And that is why it is called a single African market. So it is going to be seen like the European Union, where from Brazil to Italy, they can trade among themselves freely, duty-free, and quota-free.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Ebenezer, we lost a lot of time. So I can't keep you long because I've got this other lineup to come. Like we said, we need to fix one of the things after has to look at, make noise. Broadband internet has to come to Africa, or else we will just be making noise. So have a good day, my friend. Good night. Sorry for the technical issues. We have covered a lot of area. Thank you, Ebenezer.
No problem. No problem. Thank you so much. We can have another time for it. I'm very grateful.
Welcome to our second in the series. Now it's a good friend here, Saba. Saba, we had the issues with Ebenezer in Ghana, as usual, internet issues. So we didn't cover much ground. I hope our discussion will cover whatever you were supposed to do. How are you doing, my friend? Okay, I can't hear you if you are talking, Musaba.
I'm saying, thank you very much, Roger, and thanks for having me.
Yeah. If you've watched on the, if you've seen on the internet about Africa in continental free trade area, there is a lot of excitement. But in Zambia, it's like it's a non-issue. What's going on? What are we missing? Are we missing something?
In Zambia, in terms of the public or the individuals, because I think the individuals, they are aware. You are Zambian, I'm Zambian. There are quite a few Zambians that are pretty excited. And I think Zambia is a signatory. They haven't just yet ratified it.
It is, this agreement is in two parts. To me, the first agreement they signed, that is nothing, Musala. That is nothing. It's just to agree. Now, when you reach the ratification point, that's now you have to show some seriousness or maybe put up even some money. And that could have been a problem. But anyway, your discussion, you and I, is going to be on the benefits. And we are going to see a little video to look at some of the crazy barriers, Musaba, we have in Africa. Write them down, and maybe we can suggest some solutions. But to those who are watching, the barriers you are going to hear, don't say, aha, there is a problem. Aha, there is a problem. Look at it as an opportunity for you to create a solution and make money. That's the way these things go. So every barrier you are going to hear in the video, look at it as an opportunity. Find a solution. Think of a solution you can put to that. Let's listen to this video, Msaba, and then we'll continue with our discussion.
Despite enormous opportunities to do business within Africa, every year the continent loses money to high trade costs. It takes Africa's top grocery chain an average of $20,000 per week to secure import permits to distribute goods in just one country. It takes the same company up to 1,600 documents to send one truck across a regional border. In Kinshasa, Brazzaville, predicted to become Africa's largest metropolitan area by 2025, fewer residents cross the border than those that crossed the Berlin Wall in 1988. The reason? The high cost of crossing the Congo River and shipping goods at the Malebo Pool. These two examples tell the same story. Despite claiming regional integration as a strategic objective, African countries have yet to reach their trade potential, particularly when it comes to trading with each other. Only 5% of Africa's grain imports, for example, come from regional resources. Why aren't Africans being given the opportunity for cross-border trade? Because of non-tariff barriers like staggering transaction costs, complex immigration procedures, limited capacity of border officials, costly import and export licensing procedures, and a lack of investment in trade associations. High transportation costs and logistics also limit access to efficient transport services, especially in rural areas. Unclear policies also hamper traders. For instance, seeds released for sale in Kenya may sit stale at the border in Ethiopia because they don't satisfy local requirements. A trader may get his grain to the Tanzanian border only to find that a ban on exports has been recently imposed.
There are seasons when we have enough cereals or another agricultural products in one region when you find there is a shortage in another. But the transport costs are very high. But also where we may develop infrastructure to make sure that traffic can flow. For example, you go to borders, you delay in some of the borders, in some cases delaying for 3 days, 4 days to cross a border. And mind you, each day, transport is stuck at the border, waiting to cross. You add 1% of the value of the product. That is a cost that Africa cannot afford.
But what if African leaders committed to lowering barriers to the movement of goods, services, people, and even investments across borders? What if they implemented current policies and existing legislation that reduce the constraints faced by ordinary traders?
Africa at the moment is paying up to 40% extra on transport itself of the goods at the consumer end. When you look at these costs in the rest of the world, it is an average of 10%. So Africa remains ratchet uncompetitive, not for insurmountable reasons, but things that we can remove without any additional investment. The studies tell us that if we remove these barriers to trade, if we have these trade facilitation measures, we can have an additional up to $34 billion of additional trade annually.
It would mean that traders, like these women in DRC, could easily sell their goods across the border in Brazzaville without fear of harassment or bribery. This would help to bring Africa's booming informal trade into the formal economy. It's already happening in Senegal and Mali. It would mean more doctors, lawyers, accountants, and other professionals could travel from country to country, offering consumers cheaper services and a wider variety of skills. It's already happening in Kenya.
One of the things that has happened in East Africa, which has made really business easier for us, is that they have been able to harmonize they're able to recognize the qualifications from each partner state. So if I'm an accountant in Kenya, they allow me to practice accounting in Burundi. I don't need to go sit for new exams. They see that my qualification in Kenya is good enough for qualification in Burundi or in Uganda or in Tanzania.
For business services such as ours in a law firm, the fact that now you can go to Rwanda without needing a work permit, and Burundi that's been signed and finished with and is being implemented, means services can move there more freer than it was before, which is of course a good and a great advantage for Kenya.
I hope you followed the entire video, Masaba.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you have taken note, but I've taken a lot of notes because I was preparing for it. Some of the highlights are Masaba there. Just to acquire import licenses for one country, ShopRite spends about $20,000 $20,000 per week. 1,600 documents. What else did you hear? We are spending 40 cents to move cargo across the continent, and some of the problems, they are not roads. Let's go. We'll attack one by one. What do you think is the problem with the 20,000 per week just to acquire import licenses? How is this, number one, a problem? Number two, after how it's going to address this? And number three, this being an opportunity for a businessman like you and I.
Okay, there are two things. First of all, I think for someone like me who has been advocating for free markets,
For free trade.
free, yeah, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. It's you remove regulation. Now, the biggest argument other people have is that you tend to open up everything, you expose your local market to everyone else. Now, again, we have to be very careful as well, because even there has to be quotas. Over time, I think we have to start the way they are trying to start it, but eventually there are quotas that exist. Even in the EU, if you look at NAFTA, the trade between Canada and the United States is a free trade area, but there is quotas, right? Having said that, it's not logical to have so many documents that you need to be able to move between borders. One of the issues is clearly artificial. Like if you look at Zambia, for example, Zambia used to produce a lot of corn, and they still do produce a lot of corn. And the Zambians that want to trade with, say, the Congo, they can do that. The problem comes in when the government says you are smuggling, you see. So even though the Zambians have the capacity to export, the government gets in the way. So we hope all these things will be ironed out. So it's a good thing, really. We can't dwell on what has happened in the past, right? Because the AfCFTA is here, right? The free trade area is here, right?
Well,
so let us focus on
the free trade area is here for people who've ratified. And this is what you and I should really push our government to be organizing, that we go on either Diamond TV this coming week, you and I. We really need to push our government to be part of this. So the free trade area is not for us as yet. We've signed the agreement, and according to reports, cabinet has approved. What they are waiting for to approve, we don't know. So we need to push them because of that. The import licenses, are there any opportunities we see there for private people they can take advantage of, either in creating companies to deal with this licensing thing, creating apps, programs, stuff like that? Any room do you see? Or let me say, what is the solution? What is the solution to this problem of 20,000 per week? Because at the end of the game, whether we like it or not, the people who feel this are the ones who are going to ShopRite to buy cooking oil, to buy chicken, unfortunately, which come from South Africa. Those are the people who are being affected. This 20,000 is not absorbed by ShopRite. ShopRite puts it to the product. So what could be the solution, and what could be the opportunities there for a business person?
That was a problem on 31st December 2020. on January 1st, 2020 is not a problem for most of the countries. So we can't be looking at it as a problem anymore because they have created a continental trade area. Now,
That's a good
it
point.
may be a problem for those. It may be a problem for those that have not yet ratified the treaty.
Like Zambia.
But
Like Zambia.
yes. But then I'm not going to go into trying to understand why they didn't do it or why they are taking time to do it.
Yeah.
So the thing is that eventually I think it's going to happen. There are certain things. Zambia's location, there will be too much pressure. Okay, there will be too much pressure on Zambia if they don't do that, because
I like
there's that.
I like that.
There's that traffic. Zambia, we are in the middle, so we cannot have someone coming from, say, Tanzania going to Botswana, right? Or they are coming from Uganda. They reach Kenya, they go through. They reach Tanzania, they go through. They reach Zambia, they get stuck, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be a problem. So we have to.
Yeah.
And I think eventually the solution is everyone will sign on. Most people will sign on. But what is important is for everyone to understand that, like everything in Africa, is the assumption that once you put something in place, it becomes automatic. The benefits become automatic, right? It's not like
Of
that.
course not.
And this happened when the MMD came into power and they privatized companies, and people just thought, oh, we have investors, things are privately owned and we're going to see the benefits. When things don't happen, people start looking at the system that you have implemented to have not be able to perform as expected, and they'll be saying, we told you it won't work. It's wrong, right? So even now, when you look at the free trade area, you have to look, say for example, Zambia and Botswana, you need to have an agreement on how much cattle should be traded between the two countries, right? It's not just a question of having a free trade area. It has to be, again, what most people don't understand with free trade area is that even though they are saying there is less government regulation, there are still rules that needs to be followed. There has to be a standard, the standard pricing, quality, and things like that. So it's not just a question of I have a product in Zambia, I can sell it anywhere I want. No, it's not going to work like that.
You see, as you talk, as you talk, Musawa, when you say standards, quality, those are jobs. Those are businesses people should be thinking about, because we are going to require proper standardizing, and therefore we are going to need a lot of people to invest, the private sector, in standardizing stuff. Those who are going to, I know here in Canada where I work, we have quality private companies who come to inspect the facilities. Different standards. They come for those for air, just to check air pollution, the product, machines you are using, stuff like that. This is why some of us who are excited about this thing are excited. It's going to bring a lot of employment. One of the things, Msaba, which is a huge big barrier in Africa, you can think about it, is Nathan seated in Texas wants to send money to someone in New York. It is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Well, it's the same country, but states also in the US, they operate on different rules, but things are flawless. And yet, for me in Zambia, to send me to where? Congo Brazzaville, it is almost impossible. Do you think after we'll address this issue?
No, but we also have to consider, you have to look at it this way, right? We can't compare Congo Brazzaville with Zambia and then Texas with New York. It's not the same. We might try to compare maybe Germany with, say, France, right? And you see there, they are in a common market. The same thing you're trying to do, right? You have to compare between the US and Canada. Look at how much cars cost in the US and how much cars cost in Canada, right? If a car in Canada is very expensive, in the US it's not that expensive. If you go to the US and you buy the same car for less, you're still gonna get dinged at the border, right? But it's a common market. So there have to be things in place still. Even with that in mind, there have to be things in place where countries are protected. Now, having said that, coming back to the money transfer issue, the money transfer issue, as soon as they regulate it, it becomes a private matter. You see, if they have regulated for people to do this, we can't be going to the government crying like, why does it take forever for me to transfer money from Gabon to Zambia? That's not the government problem. It's not anymore, because the government has already facilitated for people to do it. If you can't do it, that's your problem, right?
Yeah, listening to Zambia Block Talk Radio. Let me clarify actually what I meant. For us, for this agreement to work, Musaba, money has to be sent efficiently. It takes me minutes where I am here to send money to Zambia, like seconds. Seconds, they receive the money in Zambia. Seconds, it takes seconds.
But, so, what's the
Vice
question?
versa,
I don't
it is. No, it's not a question. I'm just trying to point the point that if AfCFTA has to work well, the private sector has to step up. Governments have to allow the transfer of cash. I'm sure it's going to be there. For instance, in the you told me I shouldn't compare America. Let's go to East Africa. In East Africa, when you're doing business between Rwanda and Kenya, they send money like 1, 2, 3. Someone at Dar es Salaam, they receive the money, the goods are going. It is happening today in Africa. So we are saying the ratification of this thing, I think, will improve business transaction. And therefore, those who have their investment mind, there is hope to make money.
I agree, and that's why I was saying, like the example that you have given about Kenya is the best example, right?
Yeah.
The Kenyans, the M-Pesa project is not a government project, right? So if you look at the mobile money transfers that the Kenyans have set up around the world, within Kenya, Kenyans in the UK and Kenyans in Kenya and Kenyans in the United States, that's all private business doing it, no government involved. So if we are having problems in Zambia, the problem is not the government. The problem is you and me. So this question, you will have to ask me and others, the other Zambians in Zambia and other Zambians in the diaspora. That's the question they have to answer. How come we are having problems where our friends don't have problems? Because Zambia allows people to operate mobile money transfers. It's not illegal. So it's not a question of government anymore.
Okay. We again, we are not blaming government, but all we are saying is this agreement which has come, this is some of the benefits it will bring. There is, I'm sure you agree with me, Msawa, a government hand to make sure, say for instance, for you to operate a money business in Zambia, Bank of Zambia has to approve it. And if my money transaction with Malawi, for instance, my money transaction, I am sending money to someone from Zambia to Malawi. It's not with cell phone to cell phone. The central banks are involved. It may be in minutes. The central banks is still involved. So there is an element of government, and this is why we are saying the implementation of AfCFTA, those impediments, I think it will remove them out. Then the private sector can now do what they have to do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is why we are celebrating and we are pushing. AfCFTA will be much easier. We've looked at the trade between Zambia and Congo. Zambia and Congo, that is our trade biggest trading partner. And yet when you go to Kasumbalesa, it is like you are facing it's a military zone. We don't need that. We definitely don't need that. What are other barriers you had from there, which excited you? I was excited, Musaba, to hear that doctors from Kenya or accountants can move free and practice in Rwanda. What do you think about that?
Again, I mean, all these things sound nice. It's very good that it happens like that. But remember, a doctor from Ontario cannot just pick up and come to Alberta where you are and start practicing. Right? They have to be registered there. So we have to be very careful. Trust me, I'm very excited, like you and others, about the free trade area. But there are people who may not be aware of the consequences that come with just saying, because if there has to be bodies. For example, we have to have bodies that exist, that are recognized. And the way it has to happen is that you have to have, say, a medical body that if you have their document in Kenya, that document is recognized. Not a government document, because governments, you can pick up anything from the backyard, right? So you have to, there has to be something that's regulated, and I mean in African governments, because you can go somewhere and someone just gives you a certificate where they don't know you, and you can go to, in Zambia, they know most people are doctors, but if I can go to Malawi and say I'm a doctor from Malawi, people might die, I might just start practicing there. So you have to have something that should be able to validate me or anyone who is a doctor for that matter, that they are truly a medical doctor to be able to practice, right? However, we welcome the streamlining of making the process of doing business easier. That is very much welcome.
Yeah.
But just because it's welcome does not mean we should not allow people to be checked and validated.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Msava, every problem which is there, what are the opportunities? So that tells me the verification system which Saba is going to launch in Zambia. Anyone can enter in that database in Tanzania and prove that Roger is a rocket scientist. In whether they are in Nigeria, the point being, my wife is a nurse here in Alberta. If she wants to come and practice in Ontario, she's not going to be required to sit for a test. They'll give her the license. She will apply for the license. It ends there. She's not going to be required to sit for another exam. You know, so what we are saying is, Zambia, get on board. Your friends are going to have a verification system where the accountants can easily go to South Africa do a business one day or here, and will be left behind. We have to be careful, of course, but maybe let's not be very careful that we fail to do even the simplest, the simplest thing. Let's hear just one more video here, Msaba. See what our friends, how much they prepared as far as the Continental Free Trade Area launch was concerned. Listen to what the Ghanaians did. And you know what, Msaba? It is exciting. I thought there is some warning here for countries like Zambia who have not ratified. Listen to it. Maybe I'm listening too much.
For us in Ghana, we've embraced fully this partnership between government and the private sector to ensure maximum benefit is derived from the AfCFTA. Indeed, a series of public sensitization forums across all 16 regions of the country have been organized to update the private sector on the implementation of AfCFTA protocols, the operational requirements for effective trading in the market, and preparations for the start of trading. Public education will be intensified further after the start of trading. I'm hopeful that the state parties which are yet to submit their market access offer, that is the tariff liberalization schedule, to the AU Secretariat, would do so by the end of January 2021. This will ensure full access to AfCFTA trading by all state parties. In addition, all outstanding issues related to the various AfCFTA operational instruments, which were launched at the 2019 AU Extraordinary Summit, should be finalized and made operational by the end of March 2021.
Countries like Zambia who have not ratified Msaba are being given up to January 21st, January of this year, to make sure they ratify that thing. Msaba, there will be a need for us to push this information across the continent, across our own country. What do we do? What do you think?
I mean, it's important for us to say something, but if they don't want it, there's nothing we can do, right? However, having said that, I think even the countries that haven't yet ratified, they have more information about it. They have more information about it than we do. And they understand the consequences that are there, right? So I'm not concerned, and I think discussing this topic, in my view, it's better to be discussed like everyone signed on. You see, like everyone is on board. Like whoever is not on board, that's their problem. And I know we are from Zambia, and Zambia is one of the countries that has not yet ratified. But I think they'll eventually do it, right? So when we are discussing it, we have to discuss like we're already part of it, and we already see the benefits, and then also address the dangers that can come, the dangers that can come if we are not careful.
I like the part where you say, let's discuss, like we are already in. That sounds like a pastor somewhere, you know, by faith. By faith. I like that. No, and this was the good part when they were signing, Msaba, is they made people sign the agreement first, without no conditions, and little area is like, I'm going to this. And we know why Eritrea doesn't want to be a part of this. But the benefits care we should be. Don't put a person like me to be minister of this, because I'll open the borders with Congo like tomorrow. Musawa, if there is one thing I really want to do, if I was in government, is to open the border with Congo. I really don't understand why that border is militarized. We do the most business with them. The most transactions which go to Congo, they go through Zambia. At one point, Musaba, there were trucks from Chidilabombe, Kasumesa, to Chambeshi, turn off Mufurira. Trucks waiting to go through the border. So I like your optimism. But let's keep talking about it. Let's keep talking about it. Yes, they will come, but it shouldn't be on their own Kasimo timetable here and there. No, let's push, Musawa. You and I should prepare a discussion with Diamond. The guys in Zambia invite us. We tell our country the benefits of having the Africa being part of the free trade area. Some people have said ECOWAS, is it SADC, East Africa, or what have they done? It was my friend Nathan who was making that argument yesterday. But I told him they've delivered quite a bit, actually. If you look at the border between Senegal and Mali, they talked about in the video, it's open border, Musa. And yet what you have to go through when you're dealing with most customs officials in Zambia, it is, I don't know. So let's do our best, put up money, not put money together. No, those who have money start to invest into either apps, those who can clear stuff online. If they catch you, what they are saying if you cheat, those who want to cheat, they say, for instance, you take a COVID test in Zambia, but you got it from a terror, it's not a legit, and they find out in Tanzania that the entire country will be penalized. So these guys are tough, and something is coming up. So we were supposed to have Dr. Kajira tell us, those who are growing old, what we're supposed to be doing in the new year. Is not here. What Brother Jones Kasonso saying here himself. He says, take a look at SADC. Every country has a trade deficit with RSA because RSA has established production facilities where Zambia does have industries or established products. What we expect to benefit from freeing up more space in local markets to more imports, more deficits, other countries, more deficits with other countries. Haven't we learned enough from South Africa? What do you say?
I think Dr. Kasonso is right, and this is what I was trying to say earlier about we have to be careful, we have to have control in how what products, there has to be quotas, right? Regardless, quotas exist. If you look at, say, for example, in the EPL, right? Even the Premier League, there is quotas, how many players or how someone qualifies.
You can bring from abroad. Okay.
Right. And then there is also there are challenges that even caused the United Kingdom, is it Britain, to exit, right? So these challenges are there, but we have to see that it's on us, it's not on others, right? And that's why it's a contradiction. When I say certain things, some people hear them differently. Like, say, for example, when I say something in this way, they are saying I'm contradicting what I believe, right?
Your free market policy.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's not
I
a
think
contradiction. Yes, because I understand that that's how it works. So when people say there's nothing pure, it's like they don't understand how it works. Everything has control, but within that paradigm of free enterprise, there is, or the free trade area, there has to be control. Look at even TV, the way we watch Netflix. The Netflix we watch in Canada is not the Netflix they watch in the United States. It's not the same. Even when we are watching the Super Bowl here, if we are watching the Super Bowl through the network, you don't see US commercials, right? Before we used to see US commercials, but we don't see them anymore. So there has to be, they put things in place, and it's our responsibility to ensure that our countries are protected within the parameters of a free trade area.
one of the words he uses here is trade deficits, because South Africa has established production facilities.
Trade deficit are not big.
I may agree with Dr. Kasonso. I may agree with him. Opening up the markets, in my view, might just push us to begin to establish industries to manufacture stuff. One of the things they're talking about in the AfCFTA, they are really emphasizing on this point, is 90% of what you are bringing. Sorry for that. I thought this phone was off. 90%, Musaba, what you are bringing should be originating from Africa. Whether Dr. Kasonso is advocating that Zambia, because they are not importing from South Africa, therefore Zambia will be, I don't know. I don't even know what it means, because we are still going to import from South Africa anyway.
Can I clarify that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can close it. We read it already. The thing.
Okay, I wanted to be looking at it as we.
Yeah. The thing is that I think what Dr. Kasonso is saying is the trade deficit that exists between Zambia and South Africa and Zimbabwe, right? South Africa and most African countries that trade with South Africa. The trade is unbalanced. That's a valid argument, right? What happens there is that Zambia has to catch up, right? Because Zambia imports mango from South Africa when Zambian mango is rotten.
Exactly.
Those are things that should not be allowed to happen, right? There has to be a quota.
Okay.
If you look at the trade agreement between Canada and the United States, the one that was changed recently, one of the issues was on steel, timber, and dairy.
Yeah, and aluminum.
Yes. Now, the issue on dairy with the farmers is like, what Canada has done is that they have given the United States a quota, right? And once, say, for example, they say you can export up to 30% of the dairy that we need. But when you go over, for particular parts of dairy, when you go over, it starts costing you a percentage. The more you export, the more it costs. Some of them, it reaches as high as 200% tariff on some dairy products from the US to Canada, right? And this is why, and I think they managed to change that. Then when you come to steel, right? The Canadians and the Mexicans were able to build American cars using most of steel, say from Mexico or Canada. And you just needed about a certain percentage of steel to make it called an American car. So basically, what it was that you'd build a car in Canada and it would go across the border duty free as being a US car, right? However, what the outgoing US government did was that they increased the amount of steel that should be contained into a Canadian built car, and that still has to be American steel. So what that did was that it forces the Americans to import the Canadians to import Canadian steel. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that if we are importing baked beans from South Africa, we can tell the South Africans that we can only import baked beans from you if it contains 30% Zambian beans. Or else, you see, so this is an example. It sounds silly, but this is an example. So what that does is that because the South Africans have established industries like Dr. Kasonso has said, now they'll be forced to buy beans from Zambian farmers. You see, they'll be forced to buy, if Zambia grows cotton, they'll be forced to buy cotton from Zambian farmers to make clothes in South Africa. Then we won't have to, then it will be a win-win situation. And that's what we want. So we have to find a way where you have to create situations where every country is being required, not forced, at least encouraged, motivated to use other countries' raw material.
Dr. Kajira is sending us a note here. Dr. Kajira, you are supposed to be in the green room, but anyway, time has gone. That exists for bilateral agreements. This different in many ways. Quotas will be done away with to a larger extent.
That's actually not accurate. If you look at the EU, for example, how the Airbus is built, right? The Airbus. The Airbus, France builds the right wing. Spain builds the left wing. You see? And that's a EU agreement, for example. There are certain things you have to, it has to be within the free trade area. You have to have things in place that allows you. Now, I'm not saying bilateral agreement shouldn't exist, because even within the framework of a free trade area, you still have to deal at a bilateral level. So from that point of view, I agree with Dr. Kajira. But we are discussing a free trade area, and the free trade area should allow local or different countries to be able. It has to be a regulated, because once it's violated, right, you have to go. There's a commission. There has to be a court of sorts where you go and say, "Hey, South Africa is cheating." Right. So if you don't have these rules in place, then there will be no regulatory body.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. And it's supposed to be Dr. Kajira's time to come.
Yes.
Dr. Kajira, you pointed out that other point there before Musawa goes. Just say something about it.
First of all, thanks for having me here, Roger. And nice to see Musawa. It's always a great pleasure to hear him speak and share his knowledge. But I think we should, the way I have followed your discussion, it sounds as though Africans just woke up today and think, oh, now free trade, everyone start. No, a lot of work has been put in this for several years. This is not, in fact, was supposed to be done last July, but because of COVID, it was postponed. But the point is, you have to look at the full document. I was hoping, Musava, you would have read the entire document on how the regulation of trade will be done and how countries that are stronger in certain areas, whether there are any regulations within the agreement that protects the smaller countries. You should have told us, for example, about professionals. You heard about the Kenya, that's East Africa. They've got a college, they've got a setup where they can let doctors jump from one country to the other. That was the regional agreement. I don't think this trade agreement has touched on doctors just floating from country to country. Those are segments I'm sure that will be developed as the agreement evolves. But I honestly have a sense that there's a lot of trepidation. I sense a lot of hesitation from Musava. I wanted to hear
the free trade area, man. The free trade area, man.
This is what's good for Zambia with this trade, and this is what is bad for Zambia. This is what Zambia needs to do between now and next week, between a month and a year, in order to benefit from this. Think of it this way: Africa is coming as one block in trading with the world. That is the point we should be raising, which means your copper will be preferred to Chilean copper within Africa, for example. So Zambia will have a free market to sell the copper to all over the country, or maybe copper is not a good example, but also to allow, say, a Sudanese billionaire to build a smelter in Zambia to develop the copper so that it can now be processed within Africa. What you're doing is you're keeping the money within the continent, and that will then stimulate growth of the continent. So I think those are the things I wanted to hear.
And Dr. Musa, before you come, Dr. Kashira, before you come in, the question of copper is actually thinking about it. There should be some brains within Africa to say, now we can, let's process our copper into pipes, into wires, instead of giving China. Go ahead, Musa.
Actually, no, I agree with Dr. Kashira. Everything is said. And I think, I don't know when he started listening, because what he found me responding to was Dr. Kasonso's question on South Africa's influence or advantage that they have, right? But in general, I am with the view, exactly the same view that Dr. Kashira has, where I was even telling Roger that we shouldn't even be thinking like Zambia has not ratified yet. We should be thinking like we are already in it, right? So I'm very much aware, and at the same time,
correction. Zambia has ratified. 54 countries have already ratified. It's only staging. After you ratify, there are other things you have to do to completely now get it kick-started. That's where
update that, Dr.
has sat. But
update that,
there's something missing.
Zambia has signed, but they have not ratified.
Are you sure?
I don't know if I'm right on
no,
that.
Okay, maybe.
We'll look at
maybe.
It's the diagram. I'll go over it.
Yeah.
But my understanding that it was ratified by 54 countries. That's why we were excited. That's why it's been launched. Because majority of African countries have agreed. A ratification just means we've agreed. But to effect it, you need to do a few more steps, which Zambia is still looking at.
A few more steps. Maybe pay up some money.
Something.
something, and I like what the angle you are bringing, Dr. Kashira. Let's say
Yes.
download this Musaba and begin to study it. We need to study it because some of the wayward thinking we are putting may not be in the agreement. But anyway, go ahead, Musaba. You end before we enter the doctor's room here.
Yes, I was just saying. Again, I agree with Dr. Kajila. I'm very excited. Like I said, some of the things may sound like I'm contradicting myself, but this is something, like for me, it's something that I've always believed Africa needs most to free up businesses and the individuals and create opportunities instead of leaving everything in the hands of government.
So going forward, Matsoma Lombe here, she's asking what steps do we need to take moving forward? We've diagnosed the disease, as we have the medical doctor here. The disease are going. So what do we need to do going forward? Number one, in my view, while I share Musaba's optimism that our government has already ratified this and they are moving forward, they hit what is being called as the instruments.
Yes.
They should submit that.
Instrument
right now, the
instrument of ratification deposited. Once you deposit the instrument of ratification, then you are done. Zambia is at the stage of parliament approved.
Yeah.
So why we are not now doing the instrument part, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So going forward, Mama Soma, a government should deposit. You have a big platform there in Zambia. They need to deposit. There's nothing we are waiting for. Like Msaba rightly said, goods will be moving from Kenya freely through Tanzania nicely, and then they come and get stuck in Zambia because we have not ratified. We are on different rules. Everyone will be mad. Will be mad with this. Number two, will point to this. Our business associations in Zambia, according to the UN and the African Union, they are very weak. Let's strengthen the business associations so that you can begin to talk to your friends in Congo. You can begin to talk to your friends in Angola. The problems they are facing there, you begin to iron out at Musaba's level at the private sector. Before you, if government, it has to be 2, 3, last one, in my view, let's start project. Free trade area does not mean now it's free, money will come. Musaba also pointed to that. Now let's find out what is needed in Nigeria. What do they want in Sudan, Egypt, for that matter, which we can produce cheaply. Let's start to do that and make some money. Wants to throw in 1 cent here. Mama Soma's question here: what do we do going forward?
Yeah, no,
Musaba,
for sure.
We need to go into the doctor. Go ahead.
Musaba said if Roger.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, yes, frozen. Eh? Musaba is frozen, Doc. Eh?
No, I'm not frozen. I'm hearing both of you.
Can you hear me, Dr.
I can hear both of you. Dr.
Okay.
Speaking.
Yeah, just 1 cent. What can we do going forward?
Or was it me?
That's my question.
There, so I didn't hear what you said.
Go ahead, Musaba or Doc. Whoever can go forward.
No, let Dr. Kashira go.
Dr. Kashira, going forward, what should we be setting up now? Okay.
I think he's the one who's getting frozen. He's the one who's getting frozen. So basically, I think whatever that needs to be done for the general public, like I said from the beginning,
Yeah.
I think that the government of Zambia, they know more than we even do, right? And I think eventually they'll do it. But for the rest of us, our mindset has to be that we are already part of this thing, and everything we look at and
I like that.
has to be that we are already in the free trade area.
Okay. Being already there does not mean we sit. Mama Soma's question is, what should we be doing? That's a question. What should we be doing?
Again, you see, this is it's a tricky question, and this is a tricky question that makes me. These questions really, you can't answer a question like that for everyone, right? The whole idea is that, say for example, there's Dr. Kajila from the medical field, right? And they're already doing a lot of things. So they have to know on their own, because they have already been frustrated in things that they have tried to do. They know it's their area. They've been frustrated. So with this being in place, they have to know what they have to do next. And all of us, for people that build houses, for farmers, they have to know. Each one has to know. And if you are waiting for someone to come and tell you that do this, you are late. You don't belong here.
Again, I'm not sure it's a question of being late or not knowing. According to this question, the way I understand it, what should we be doing? So, for instance, radio yesterday. It's now time to sit and plan. How do our chickens reach Nigeria? It's now, how do we produce so many chickens we can compete with South Africa, so to say? It is a question, it's an action question, action-oriented question. We should be doing, something should be happening. Dr. Kajira is a doctor here. Dr. Yes. Kajira, we heard that in East Africa, actually it's you has been an example how in East Africa they you can get a license in Kenya and you are good to go in. Those are preparations people should be making. I don't know, be wrong.
Yeah. You know what? On the point of what should we be doing, if you listen to Nana Akufo-Addo and the journalist you spoke to at the beginning, Ghana saw this coming. They went out there, sensitized their population, informed their people that, guys, the game is about to change.
Okay.
Yeah, that the game is about to change, and let's prepare for this. What I'm not sure about, and which Chisoma Lombe is supposed to be telling us who are aware, is what has Zambian government been doing in educating the people so that the people can be ready to start producing things that can be, can be exported to the countries around the continent. So I think we are a little bit behind, but like Msawa said, it's never too late. I think we need to go in overdrive. I think having a casual attitude here is not going to help us.
I like that. Having a casual attitude. I like that. Anyway, Musaba, I'm going in the doctor's room now. I need to keep fit. Thank you, my friend. I hope you'll be watching and giving us some tips as you. Let's continue this. When you say we are already in, sometimes that might imply we shouldn't be doing anything. We are in, especially as Zambians. They are saying if we get our game right, we can save, I don't know if it's save or $450 billion dollars. Okay, let me talk about the 35 billion by the year 2033. Zambia, we should be seated and saying, how do we get a piece of that pie? What do we need to start doing, Msaba? I have a plan to produce million chickens a month. Just watch me, my friend.
You see, I agree with what you're saying, but me, I always look at it differently.
Yeah.
And this is probably why I think if someone is an entrepreneur, they understand the language, right? We need to separate people. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, like if you're I give example, you see, I don't know how to put this in a different way. The we is a very strange word, right? Because some people think others are doing it. When we hear something like, there are people who are frustrated. If you look in Zambia today, there are a lot of people who are already doing things. They are already doing something, right? So the only reason is that we didn't have the infrastructure, and I don't mean the physical infrastructure. I mean the infrastructure as the free trade area is being prescribed, right? Some people, that's all they needed to be in place, right? If I can give you an example, what just happened in India, if you followed, the Indian farmers are destroying crop, right? They grew a lot of crop, but the government is paying them peanuts. So they are destroying it. In Zambia, we have similar situations. So we cannot be asking people that produce a lot of maize, right? They already produce a lot of maize, and then they are paid peanuts. And then we are asking them, what do you do? Now, they will discover that, the free trade area is here. They are not going to be stopped to sell their maize to Zimbabwe. They already know that.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, but there comes your quotas. Anyway, Musaba, let me go in the doctor's room. Thank you for the discussion. But like I said, I think we need to push this 15 minutes. I like what Mama Soma is saying here. She says, I hope we have this conversation again. Yes, we will. I was actually telling Musaba that you're on your program, my people, Musaba and I hopefully Doc here. You can invite us. We can come live because we need. I like what Dr. Jira is saying. We don't want to be casual about this. We want to belong to this free. It's not free as in free, but it will come with conditions, and then that we know. But we need to belong to this. Our small economy, this little economy called Zambia, there's just no way we can be competing or talking to or we need this to belong to this economy. Yes, I'll make sure I get in touch with you and we continue this discussion. Thank you, Musaba, my friend. Like you and I, we are getting old. So Dr. Kajira is here to tell me, the question I'm asking Dr. Kajira is, what happens to me if I'm just seated in my house eating and sleeping? And what happens to me when I run? What's happening to my body? I always wonder, sir. So I always know it is. Dr. Kajira, welcome. You would have a lot of inputs there. I like the piece where you say, let's not be casual about this.
No.
We really need to be very proactive.
I tell you, Roger, Dr. Rikana Chamborikwa has been talking about this for the whole year, singing out. What's going to happen is once you open up Africa, it's the big companies that will mushroom and spread like wildfire. The people with money will spread like wildfire. And there's a risk that the small guys will be vanquished. So it's important that us as Africans take up the challenge and actually take advantage of what is in store with this free trade area. Because the cost of doing business should go down, because the tariffs that increase the cost will be done away with within Africa. Intra-Africa trade is only, as you said, 16-17%.
Yes.
And we're trading more with the outside world, not trading among ourselves. So this is going to be a game changer. And also it will help stimulate African manufacturing as well. And
exactly.
It will encourage you, Roger, to partner with a Ugandan colleague and say, let's do business and build this to a bigger thing so we can sell to South Africa and so on. So I think if you look at it that way, we are going to benefit. But if you look at it as in a fearful way, then we won't. Anyway, so should we move to what I'm trying to do?
Yes, keeping fit. This is the time, Dr. Kajila, a lot of people are making their, what do you call?
New Year's
resolution to keep fit, but we don't wait for that. Be a -9, -15, you are there running, Dr. Kajila. So
I know.
The other day I was joking with Jasiah how that as we are getting a little bit older, you just sit down, you find yourself you want to sleep. But what happens is, Dr. Kajila, when I do some exercise, I run, I can go the whole day. I don't want to sleep. I just want to work. So this is, I said, no. Dr. Kajila has to come.
Yes.
Let us begin to understand. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
What is happening to me, Dr. Kajila, when I just sit to my body and my body is telling me, sleep? What is happening there? Without exercise, I have to sleep. What's going on?
To answer that question, let me go back to antiquity, to BC, before Christ. We have a gentleman called Hippocrates. Hippocrates is considered the father of medicine. And this is what he said back in between 460 and 370 BC. He said, if your mood is low, take a walk. And if it's still low, take another walk. What was he trying to say? He was trying to tell us the benefits of exercise. The walk is just a metaphor. There are many ways you can exercise. So he's trying to say, get moving, because you need the endorphins in your body to be released, serotonin to be released in order to improve your mood. Okay, so in answering your question about being sedentary versus exercising, what are the benefits of exercise? Man, they are numerous. It's amazing. If I had time, I would go through one by one. I'll start with the mind, because mental health is one of the most undertreated conditions. When you exercise, you may help prevent depression, especially in this time of COVID-19.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, if you exercise, you're going to release some serotonins and so on. So exercise is not only a preventative thing for depression and anxiety, but it's also therapeutic, to those conditions. So that we know. And the second thing I would say about the mind is dementia. There's evidence out there, scientific evidence showing that people who exercise later on in life will have a lower chance of developing dementia or even Alzheimer's dementia than those who are sedentary. And we are beginning to understand some of the explanation as to why that happens. There's a part of the brain called the hippocampus. With increasing age, this hippocampus starts to shrink. So that the hippocampus controls memory. So, in dementia, your memory goes. So if you exercise, you will be protecting the hippocampus. They've discovered that there are certain parts of the chromosome called the telomere. As we grow old, the telomere is a cap of the chromosome. It shrinks slowly. And it's been found that exercise reduces the shrinkage of the telomere. That's why sometimes you see a guy who exercises looks younger than a guy who's sedentary, even if chronologically the guy is older, okay? Because
Yeah.
benefits of exercise over the long term. I'll move away from the mind and I'll talk about the cardiovascular effects of exercise. We all know that exercise prevents heart disease. It prevents strokes. It lowers your blood pressure. It lowers your sugar, so you don't develop diabetes. But even when you're diabetic, it helps you control your sugar levels, and it upregulates insulin release. So all these things are important. It lowers your cholesterol. But more importantly, it also reduces a very important component of why we get ill, which is inflammation. Exercise reduces inflammation in the body by releasing certain chemicals like interleukins that will counter some of the bad interleukins. Also, there's a study that was done that showed that there's an enzyme called extracellular superoxide dismutase. This apparently goes up, the levels of this goes up after exercise. And this is actually an antioxidant that counters the free radicals that are released in the body. So that protects you from inflammation. And then there are inflammatory markers that have been shown to decrease with exercise, like CRPs, reactive protein, and tumor necrosis factor. All those things drop. So there are benefits in terms of inflammation. Even certain types of cancers are reduced when you exercise. Colon cancer, breast cancer. And this is, I'm not talking like a holistic doctor. This is actually scientific evidence that's out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, the benefits, my brother, are numerous. I could keep going on and on, from bone loss, osteoporosis to osteoarthritis. Everything seems to work. So if I had to prescribe one drug, I would prescribe exercise.
Yeah.
Because it acts like a drug.
Yeah.
If you look at all the percentage
Yeah.
of conditions,
Acts like a drug. I
it's
like that.
better than even taking a cholesterol pill.
Just very briefly. So, what is happening to my body when I'm exercising? What is really happening, which is making fixing all these little parts which are getting messed up? What is happening when I'm exercising?
So physiologically, when you exercise, what are you doing? Your heart rate is going up. Okay.
Yes.
Your breathing increases so that you are taking in more oxygen into your body. And as you know, oxygen is the fuel that drives your cells to work efficiently. So by doing that, you are conditioning your body. You are increasing blood flow to the heart.
I like that.
Making the heart more efficient, more elastic, and also your vessels are also relaxing, because for the heart to pump a lot of blood, the vessels have to open up to allow the flow.
Oh, yes. I like that.
So all that is happening when you exercise, and you're releasing positive chemicals in your body that will help condition your heart and prevent bad conditions like diabetes, heart failure, and so on from developing. So
I like the doctor in me. My wife was always says you you and your theories. Because I've always thought, Doc, why I feel so tired when I haven't exercised. I just want to sit down and sleep. And there you go. You are telling us here, when you are not exercising, your heart has to work a little bit extra to move the blood around, because whatever they are closing.
Yes.
But when you are exercising,
things are closing up. Yeah.
Things are closing as you are seated, Namunji. If you are listening, Namunji, somewhere, things are closing, my friend. Things are closing wherever you are. Things are closing up. But when you exercise, it's like, it feels so good, Doc.
And by the way,
it's
Roger,
just
And by the way, Roger, it's never too late to start. Let me emphasize that point.
So wonderful.
It's been found that even the elderly who start exercising live longer than those who don't. So if you're in your 50s, 60s, and you think, oh, all these years I haven't exercised, why should I start in my... No, start slowly.
Especially when you are actually, especially Doc, when you start reaching those ages, when the muscles are beginning to go weak. I think, yes.
Yeah.
You say I could be a doctor.
And as you grow older, your balance, one guy I always think of is Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Have you noticed that each time he comes to camera, he's doing some movement?
He was dancing the other day.
He gets it. And I think he's doing so well because of mobility, that he understands that the more I get moving, the better I am, So I think, we should all be exercising. Start slowly. Don't overdo it the first day. Start walking first. Increase your capacity. Walk 3 miles initially, then maybe 6 miles. Then now look at the time. So you're walking faster the next time. Build up your capacity, because if you jump from 0 to 100, you have an accident, don't you? Even when we drive cars.
Yeah.
If I sit there and push that thing and I jump from 0 to 100, I may go off the road. Same thing. If you start exercising from 0 to, you break a bone, you fall, you injure yourself, you pull a muscle, then you'll be set back. So start slowly, build up, and then you feel better. And
how much exercising do someone need either per day or per week, so to say?
Yeah.
And for how long?
Yeah, most
organizations for the lazy people.
Most organizations around the world, WHO, American Heart Association, Canadian Cardiologist Society, they all say 150 minutes a week of moderate exercise is advised. So 150 could be, say, 30 minutes 5 times a week. So 5 days of the week for 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be able to achieve that of moderate exercise. What do I mean by moderate? I mean aerobic exercise, where either walking or jogging or things like that. So that's the duration that's recommended. But once your capacity increases, you could even ramp it up to 300 minutes a week. But that's really for weight loss and other super, like interval training. But just minimum 150.
Yeah. No, that is that's why we needed it. I know people this exercise thing, they don't want to hear it, but
no, it's important.
As usually those you begin to grow your mind, Dr. Kajira. You cannot emphasize that anymore. How small things you begin to forget, and then you exercise just there. It's just snap. You are on top of things. No, Doc, we appreciate in the community and the work you do for us. Always available. So
thank you
much. We have a lot of work to do 2021.
Big time. Thank you so much, Roger. Appreciate it.
You have you are going back to work. I'm going back to work on what day is that? On Tuesday. No, Wednesday, Doc.
Me work never ends. So from here, I'm going to the office to catch up on a few, because
oh my goodness,
people are waiting for their results. So I can't wait that I only do it next week. So let's keep working.
Yeah. Have the remaining weekend, Doc. We'll be talking.
Thank you very much for having me. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye. That was Dr. Kajira, and that was our discussion. I don't know what you picked up on the trade or exercise. Please stay fit. The world is still needs you, Madam Tsoma. We'll get in touch, and that way we can do some stuff. We'll end with a video from the celebrations which happened Yeah, you have a good weekend, or is it a weekend? Whatever is remaining.
Get ready to trade. As Africa welcomes the AfCFTA start of trading on 1st of January 2021. The African Continental Free Trade Area, our area. From our cities, to our farmlands, to all four corners of our great continent, we're a dynamic and fast-growing market of 1.2 billion people, with a combined GDP of at least $2.5 trillion. Eliminating most tariffs and cutting miles of red tape means exporting our goods within our continent will be cheaper and easier. It means business opportunities for millions of our people, lifting millions more out of poverty, and generating jobs for our growing youth, empowering women, creating new value chains and supply chains to connect our SMEs, startups, and small traders to new business. Manufacturing, farming. It's Africa's industrial exports that will benefit the most. The AfCFTA will encourage us to modernize and mechanize so we can add value to our goods, strengthening Africa for the fourth industrial revolution, helping realize the vision of a self-reliant and resilient Africa, the Africa we want.